Chi Myanmar Liaison Office distributes rice and cooking oil to rural areas impacted by epidemic. Taiwan's last railway roundhouse continues to be in operation, preserving local railway culture. I'm Sean Scanlan. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. Let's get started. The Tzu Chi Liaison Office in Myanmar distributed 48 kilograms of rice and 2 liters of cooking oil to families in rural areas. Volunteers also visited impoverished families to listen to their difficulties as a result of the coronavirus epidemic. Let's take a look.
Bags of heavy rice are the hope of each family. Although Tzu Chi volunteers cannot deliver it directly to some villages, this kind of care must be sent by wherever means. Volunteers also visited some of the villages to listen to their frustrations.
In order to make money, I have to leave my children at home and go to work in the mountain. I can't take care of him and feed him during this time.
This food can relieve the anxiety of the family temporarily.
These materials are very helpful to me so that I can stay at home temporarily to take care of my children.
Another household is a man who was born with a disability and suffers from polio. He used to earn a living by fortune telling. During the epidemic, his income was reduced by half. The material assistance was arrived in time.
I'm so grateful that at my most difficult time, the Master has always been caring for me like a mother. I've never received such help since I was born.
His gratitude is transformed into a handful of rice every day.
I will save a handful of rice every day to help the people who have a more difficult life than me.
His compassion will continue to bloom to help others.
A young volunteer at Jing Books and Cafe, Liu Xikuan, previously made sushi to raise funds for charity. And recently, he was one of the many youth and their parents who were recruited to serve at a local recycling station. Here's more. Put the colored paper in the basket. That's mixed, which is not regarded as white paper.
Usually, the volunteers doing recycling are mostly old bodhisattvas. This day, many young people came to Wuxi recycling station to do recycling. They are all young volunteers at Jing Books and Cafe and were invited by volunteer Liu Xikuan to do recycling with their parents.
I'm very grateful to Tzu Chi brothers and sisters in our community and the colleagues at Jing Books and Cafe for their willingness to allow this group of children, including Guan Guan, to come and learn. This convenient method, children can cultivate seeds of goodness.
The 4 members of the fan family all came to do recycling. They pressed the plastic bottles and sorted recycled paper, enhancing parent-child relationship during this interaction.
Our whole family came here because we want our kids to cultivate the concept of environmental protection and loving the earth since youth. We also want to teach them to cherish the things we have and to not throw them away and always buy new things.
The environment here at the recycling station is quite hot and smelly. When the kids come here, they will realize they have made so much rubbish and put such a heavy burden on the earth. They will then try to minimize the use of disposable items and use eco-friendly cups.
The children of pharmacist Xu Wanzhen are also happy during recycling. She is very pleased to see her children change.
The greatest change in my daughter is that in the past, when she went shopping with me, she would ask me to buy yogurt and apple juice drinks for them. Now they know that these drinks will create some garbage, so I strongly agree with the master's saying that it is important to cultivate eco-friendly concepts since youth.
Although they are sweating, the seeds of goodness have already planted in their hearts. It is expected that this seed will grow with the child, allowing this good act of protecting our earth to continue forever.
Fifth grader Melody Lee is a volunteer at the Jing Books and Cafe. She's been a vegetarian since she was in her mother's womb. The family is originally from the Philippines, but now live in Hualien, Taiwan. She says she loves vegetables more than meat, and she vows to be a vegetarian for life. Let's take a look.
Melody Lee volunteers at the Jing Books and Cafe. She can clear away the cups as well as restock the merchandise, giving the adults a run for their money. She loves being a volunteer at the bookstore as much as she loves being a vegetarian.
I think being vegetarian is good, and sometimes when my peers talk about eating chicken or some other meats, I think to myself, it cannot be better than vegetables.
Melody not only loves to eat vegetarian meals, but she also helps in the kitchen to cook dinner. She is a brilliant chef. Melody has been a vegetarian since she was in her mother's womb, and she has never been healthier.
She doesn't get sick often, as her immune system is pretty good. When she has a stomach, like when he eats food which might have gone bad, she will recover after sleeping it off overnight.
At school, the students learn how to cook vegetarian dishes and work together to make it delicious. However, for Melody, vowing to be a vegetarian isn't just about the food.
The school promotes vegetarianism and teaches us we can save trees by eating vegetarian meals. That's why I vowed to be a vegetarian my whole life.
Her determined heart can be said to run in the family, as her whole family makes the same promise.
We don't think being vegetarian is difficult. We all have the heart to protect life. When we see life, we want to protect them. This is our belief in being a vegetarian.
The mission to be kind to the planet, which also helps to maintain a healthy body, is not a difficult one to choose. The difficulty lies in the determination to uphold this belief.
Tzu Chi volunteers in West Los Angeles continue to visit private and public sectors to promote their vegetarian campaign. Recently, volunteers were able to receive some feedback about their work to promote a veggie diet. Here's more.
Thank you. Mandy Wong has been a vegetarian for over 40 years, and recently she decided to advocate for this healthy lifestyle to her co-workers, much like a Tzu Chi volunteer would.
It just makes me feel a lot better in terms of my health. So I encourage everybody to be a vegetarian, if not at least try to have a vegetarian meal once a day, if not at least a few times out of the month.
Thank you so much.
Tzu Chi volunteers in the Los Angeles County area hope to spread the message of love for all, be it people, animals, or the planet. The easiest way to do so is to take on a vegetarian diet.
Vegetarian meals.
One police captain mentions that their precinct has a good relationship with the Foguangshan Xilai temple in the community. Thus, many of their officers are also vegetarian.
They actually sign and want
Alhambra Hospital healthcare workers have received preventative supplies and vegetarian meals from Tzu Chi and signed a certification of gratitude to thank the volunteers.
This is yours.
Meanwhile, one family member of a healthcare worker is grateful beyond words at the medical supply donation Tzu Chi is offering.
I'm speechless and completely overwhelmed by what the foundation is doing for my daughter, my friends Lynn and Tim. It's just very, very, very heartwarming.
其实 Buddhism 是帮忙全的给那个 world 的。
COVID-19 is a virus that doesn't discriminate. Everyone is at risk. Thus, Tzu Chi spreads their protective net to all those in need of it. In return, they hope their sincerity and kindness will inspire more people to adopt a plant-based diet for their health.
In Zhanghua, a restaurant owner and his family have been selling beef noodles for 3 generations. 10 years ago, after reading a comic book version of a Buddhist sutra, he was inspired to become a vegetarian, later selling vegetarian noodles. Though business was very poor in the beginning, he was able to overcome some of his bad habits and grow his business. Let's take a look. My dad, I, and my son have been selling beef noodles for 40 years. I never thought of being so courageous and adventurous to change someday.
This family has made lots of money by selling beef noodles for 3 generations. Yet, Cai Qicheng suddenly changed his job. Why? The cause is a Buddhist sutra. 10 years ago, the couple took their children to Hualien recycling station to do recyclings on a weekend. Volunteer Xu Baocai picked up a comic version of a Buddha sutra and Cai Qicheng read it.
Animals should not be eaten. They have lives. If you cut into them, that will be very painful.
In this way, he has the idea of being a vegetarian. After discussing it with his wife, he changed the beef noodle restaurant to a vegetarian one. But in the early days, the business was not good enough.
After a whole day, we had just sold a bowl of rice.
We might have only earned several hundred NT dollars for the day. There was more food dumped than stocked every day.
But can they go back? Or maybe they wanted to give up? Of course not.
Many Tzu Chi brothers and sisters later came to support us, so our business began to get better. The earning is even enough to pay for rent. We felt maybe the Bodhisattva didn't want us to go back to selling beef noodle soup.
In the past, when talking to my customers, the language and words I spoke were not very polite, but now I've changed.
He stopped smoking and chewing betel nuts. My kids don't have this bad habit either.
Their daughter is also helping in the restaurant now. After a while, she will open another vegetarian noodle restaurant with her 2 elder brothers.
I think that to encourage more people to go vegetarian, the best is to let the meat lover to go meatless together.
Knowing that it is the correct thing to save the earth and us humans, even though our effort is little, it can still exert its unlimited potential. The only remaining railway roundhouse in Taiwan is located in Zhanghua. It was completed in 1922 and is mainly used to repair locomotives. It is now a historic site with engineers continuing to work on locomotives, also passing down technical knowledge to the next generation. Here's our report.
I'm from Jing. This is very ritual and then very creative back in the day.
Built in 1922 with a railway turntable as the center, the roundhouse has 12 stalls which unfold like a fan when seen from above.
The only surviving roundhouse is in Zhanghua. It is of great historical significance and a prestigious monument in the county, which typically attracts quite a lot of tourists.
Picking up the camera and shooting pictures is one of the things that experienced railroad fans enjoy much as they press the shutter.
There are only a few places in Asia where vehicles are currently going in and out of roundhouses for maintenance, because many such garages have basically become museums, as they don't perform these functions anymore. I can take you to visit one engine still in operation.
After traveling a long distance, the locomotive engine returns to the garage for rest and maintenance, as this place is nicknamed the Locomotive Hotel.
In the past, there were 6 roundhouses operated by the Taiwan Railway Administration in Taipei, Hsinchu, Zhanghua, Jiayi, Kaohsiung, and Kaohsiung Port. Because of the changing route times and linear routes as well as changing function, 5 roundhouses have already been removed.
故障的马达，要把它换成现在就是说我们已经整理好的马达。
6 or 7 strong men need to do their part to complete this task.
不对，再过来一点，再高一点点，再高，好 ，OK。
Carefully inspecting the maintenance work is 54-year-old Chen Senchi, who has been repairing trains for 30 years.
Don't exceed 5 mm or more. It looks okay. This has been replaced with new ones.
He is happy to share his experience teaching the next generation a little at a time.
We want to pass our knowledge to the next generation like this. The master instructs new masters and the next generation.
We follow the master to diagnose faults and repair it. Of course, there will be a lot of problems, and we also want to try our best. If the locomotive is in such a condition, we must try our best to find out the problem.
高度够不够？至少要1/2以上的高度。好，看这个锅炉的水位有没有正常。
Steam locomotives require more maintenance.
它现在加润滑油进去。它这个是
Let's randomly disassemble something. Sometimes the wrong parts are disassembled, which can cause the train to stop moving.
Although the 30-year qualifications for the inexperienced technology, Jing continued to study.
You have to learn and do it all the way to know that principle or what matter you have to pay attention to.
The only living monument in Taiwan, a nearly 100-year-old roundhouse garage in Zhanghua, perfectly preserved treasure of Taiwan's railway culture. In a village which is a 15-minute drive from Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia, most residents do not have IDs, making it impossible for them to get government subsidies during the coronavirus epidemic. Tzu Chi volunteers were informed of their dire condition, as many villagers had exhausted their family savings due to the movement restriction orders. Tzu Chi conducted home visits and distributed rice and other supplies to them. Here's more. The marshlands are covered with wooden houses of different shapes, and the villagers here usually travel by wooden bridges. Kampong Suang Parai is a 15-minute drive from Kota Kinabalu. Most of the villagers have no documentation and cannot receive government subsidies during the coronavirus epidemic.
I have 9 children, and including me and my wife, 11 people live here.
They just use some broken boards. Nothing is bought new. It's just like this. And this they call a box, which sometimes 10 by 10 meters with a family of 5 or 6 people crowding inside.
Some of the people here don't have work. They have no money to buy daily necessities and infant formula.
Marlon lives in the village next door and received Tzu Chi subsidies in an outbreak. On this trip, she took the initiative to take volunteers to visit the households neighboring to help with communication.
If the child is hungry, they will cry. There was a food before. We can feed the child. Now we don't have anything to eat. The child is hungry.
Volunteers visit house to house and register everyone so the distribution can start immediately. The village head lent a small space in a house to serve as a distribution site.
We had some savings before, but after months of moving restriction control, we have run out of our savings. Fortunately, there is your help now, as we thank Tzu Chi.
Carrying rice on his shoulders and carrying cooking oil, villagers walk home, no longer feeling the burden of feeding the family tomorrow.
The materials you have given are sufficient. We cherish them and thank you for your assistance.
Using the power of prayer and compassion, villagers respond by donating to bamboo coin banks, hoping to pass the love forward to others in need. In Sabah, Tzu Chi held 6 distributions which had to be delivered by both car and boat. A total of 290 households received the supplies. During the coronavirus epidemic, many villagers who received the supplies would otherwise go hungry. Let's take a look.
In Malaysia, Sabah volunteers moved the supplies onto the boat to prepare for the aid distribution. The Tzu Chi flag was flying on the boat. When the villagers found that it was Tzu Chi, they quickly rowed to the middle of the sea.
The big ship couldn't get in to bring them supplies. We have to go in another small boat. Also, some of the residents will take their smaller boat out to get supplies, so it's a very different experience.
There was a kidnapping case here. Therefore, on the day of the distribution, the Coast Guard followed Tzu Chi volunteers to ensure their safety. The people living here are poor and sick. Among them, 37-year-old Sahide earned about $5 a day before he lost his eyesight, but now he can only survive on fishing.
15 tahun saya tidak boleh kerja sudahlah.
I haven't worked for 15 years since I lost my vision. I don't know what the cause was. Suddenly, as I get older, my eyes become less clear. You see there are white spots here. Sometimes I starve for 2 days. Sometimes my relatives will give us food.
He told me that he would go fishing and catch fishes, all of which depend on his wife to row a boat to take him out because he could not see anything.
Volunteers also went to the rural areas to conduct home visits and collect recipients' data in 2 days.
I saw many poor people here. Their children are not wearing shoes nor clothes. Such kind of children cannot be seen in big cities.
Most children cannot afford to pay tuition fee and hence drop out the school. Their home doesn't have running water, and they only collect rainwater and buy water from others. Then in their difficulties, Tzu Chi mobilized volunteers to help.
So I hope more people have compassion. Although you are busy, you can stop and rest. Think about those who are more bitter than you. If there is a chance, you can make an effort to participate in charity work.
I hope that with these distributions we can encourage more people to participate in Tzu Chi. If we have one more person's strength, it will be different.
A total of 290 households participated in 6 distributions. During the epidemic, the 2 villagers received supplies and did not have to go hungry.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Northern California have been working with the East Palo Alto Food Bank. During the epidemic, food distribution occurred twice a month, but now it's happening every Saturday because more families need help. In addition, Tzu Chi distributed stored cash cards for families that didn't get government assistance. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.